Hello. As we meet, Peter and I are on the land of the Kaurna people, but those of you who are viewing may be in a range of different places who were that were traditional lands of First Peoples. Wherever you are, like Peter and myself, we acknowledge the elders past, present and emerging, and we look to a continued reconciliation with them. Thanks, Peter.
Bruce, we've just made a video about scripture and we started to talk a little bit about language. And so we thought we'd make another one to go to notice that in earlier versions of scriptures, we would have talked about people, the blind man, is the phrase, or the lepers. But something has changed recently.
Yeah.
What's been that change?
Well, I reckon that's really important, Peter, because we are more than our disability. We are more than our characteristics. I'm blind, but I'm also a male. I'm blind, but I'm also a husband. So rather than saying I'm a blind person, I think it's much better for me to say that I'm a person with blindness. And as a consequence, I need to deal with the challenges that come my way, just as people who perhaps are neurodiverse are not autistic, or that they're people who are neurodiverse, or they're people on the autism spectrum. And
so what's the change? Why is this? I sense the change is important. Can you give me a sense of why that is?
Well, I think once again it's because the term should not classify or categorise or limit the person who can be described in that way, because, believe it or not, from time to time I have difficulty thinking that I am disabled. Every now and again, surprisingly, it might surprise you to know that I have to say to myself, well, Bruce, just remember you can't do that because in fact actually you are blind. But I think that's probably a good thing, because it means that my blindness isn't limiting me. Yeah. And I think that that's another thing that I would like to encourage people who are living with a disability. Don't let your disability limit you. And if it does, see if you can find some way or some people to help you in finding a way of moving around it and dealing with it and living with it in a more positive way.
So it seems to me like there might be at least two angles to this. There is your experience and wanting to challenge the limits, not let the language keep you contained.
Yeah.
But also there's a challenge for people like myself, because I might go, if everybody's blind, I can help them by, and the assumption I head into is this thing called help when actually I haven't asked.
That's right.
You know,
that's right. I think that's the question is always a very powerful thing, because the thing is, until you ask the question, you're not sure of the answer, and the answer isn't the same for everybody, and it's not the same for the same person all the time. Sometimes the assistance that I need might be this, whereas at other times I might need this. And so I'm always very grateful to people who obviously know that I'm blind because I've got my guide dog or my cane, when they ask, is there anything that I can do to help? Or did you know you were at this particular bus stop, etc. And I think that's a very, very powerful permission-giving thing for people to do.
So it becomes incumbent on me to not assume that I understand or that I know what language or labels is appropriate, because actually for everyone it's going to be different. What's appropriate for me to do is to ask, find the way to go, what's going on here, Bruce?
That's right.
How do I need to do this?
That's right. And that's right. And the most positive way you can begin an interaction with anybody is to ask a question about themselves. And because that actually shows an interest and expresses a desire to engage. And particularly if you are aware of a person with a disability, then asking about their disability and how they might be assisted is really important. It becomes a bit more challenging if the disability isn't obvious, but that's a whole nother question, isn't it?
For the day. Bruce, thank you very much for your time.
Right.